As a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and also a psychiatrist, here are things that I do differently with my kids than a lot of other members of the church, I would assume. I don't force them to follow my standards. Now, I do have some, of course, like house rules, but specific things that are specific to my faith and the way that I practice it, I don't force on them. For example, the way that I practice keeping the Sabbath day holy. I share with them what I do, and sometimes I'll even encourage them to give it a try. But when they come and they ask to do something on Sunday that, it's maybe kind of borderline what I would do, I teach them what I do and why, and then I say, but it's up to you. And I explain that the way that they practice their religion is up to them. It's a personal thing. It's between them and God. Next thing is I do not normalize my religion, meaning that when my kids go to me and they say, oh my gosh, alcohol is so bad and coffee is so bad, which they have done. Most people drink alcohol and most people drink coffee. And for most people, it's not a huge deal. In fact, as members of the church, we're really weird for not doing these things. Most everybody else does. Now, here's why I don't drink alcohol and I don't drink coffee. Here's what I believe, but most people don't believe that. And that does not make them bad people at all. I defend the sexual practices of people that do not practice it the way that I do, particularly the LGBTQ community. So my kids have on occasion gotten some ideas from school. They'll come home and they'll make some kind of joke or something or make some kind of statement about the LGBTQ community. And I will tell my kids that that is not appropriate. They should not be making fun of minority groups. I'll teach them that they're not in a position to judge anyone else and that different people live in different ways. And that does not make them bad people at all. The way I describe it to my kids is I explain that the way that I live as a member of the church is pretty different from the way a lot of other people live. That there are a lot of different other types of lifestyles. To them, I describe that a homosexual relationship is a different kind of lifestyle and that the people who live it are not bad people. Different does not mean bad. And I explain to them what I believe about it, also pointing out that what I believe is not necessarily what the rest of the world believes. In fact, it's kind of a strange belief that most people don't have. I also very clearly tell them that if they ever ended up living one of these other lifestyles, if they entered into a homosexual relationship, I absolutely would still love them, that I believe that God would still love them, and that everybody just does the best they can in the situations that they're in. And that for some people, being in the church and belonging to the church may not be best for them, may not work for them, and that is okay. Some people like to be Buddhist monks, and some people like to be Catholic priests, and some people like to be Hindu yogis, and some people like to be Mormons. That all these differences make the world a beautiful place, a diverse place. God loves all of those different types of people. And a homosexual marriage is another kind of lifestyle. It is not our duty, our responsibility, or our place to judge other people. Everybody's doing the best that they can, and you don't know what they're going through. It's my belief that God works inside and outside of the church. Somebody outside of the church may be doing what they believe is right and good and best. And Jesus Christ will judge them perfectly, and I don't need to worry about it. When we talk on subjects like atheism, or other religions, or other beliefs that people have, or beliefs that people don't have, I explain to them that a lot of these beliefs are really reasonable, and the people that believe them have good explanations and reasons for believing what they do. I explain to my kids what I believe and why. I also point out to them that most people in the world do not believe what I believe. In fact, most people believe that what I believe is really weird. My beliefs are actually pretty unpopular. Now, a lot of people that belong to the church think, oh my gosh, how could you possibly say all these things to your children? They're going to leave the church and hate the church. Maybe. Or maybe you having your kids on a very, very tight collar will actually result in them hating the church a lot more than my kids. Maybe you cramming your beliefs down their throat and forcing in their faces. A lot of times beliefs that are very intolerant, they're more likely to want to spit it out of their mouth. Maybe acting like everybody else in the world is really bad and that we as members of the church are the only really good ones will backfire on you and on them when they go out into the world and they go to college and they find out that most people are pretty good people and don't believe or do the same things that we do. But if you tell them the way that things actually are, you don't put a leash on them, and you don't make everybody else seem like they're horrible people, that they'll find the things they learn in the world are actually compatible with what you taught them. Your spiritual journey is not the same as your kid's spiritual journey. Your journey through life is not your kid's journey through life. If you try to force your journey on them, you try to make them do everything exactly the same way as you do, they're more likely to resent and hate and try to get away from the religion that you're forcing on them and develop some trauma. And when they leave the church, they're going to have all these beliefs that the church is this horrible, controlling, terrible thing. All of my kids that can read choose to read their scriptures every night. I don't make them do it. I told them why I read my scriptures. I told them the benefits that it had in my life, and they choose to do it. I asked them if they wanted me to remind them, and they said yes. So once in a while, I'll remind them. Usually I don't remind them. Usually they just do it on their own. There's such a thing as religious trauma. This is where your parents are constantly using the religion in order to manipulate and control their children, filling them full of all these terrible fears, making them feel like God doesn't love them if they don't do things a certain exact way. And it's a form of abuse, and you need to not do it. It will backfire on you and on them. And if they do stay in religion, it's going to be for the wrong reasons. But more than likely, they're going to run away from that religion as soon as they possibly can. And once they get away, they're going to think that other people in the religion are as abusive as you were to them. It doesn't have to be this way. In fact, it's a lot better if it's not.